What is up, mathletes? Welcome back to another episode of Math with Dr. Math. And today we're going to talk about solving a 2x2 system using Cramer's Rule. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, so let's go ahead and let's look at Cramer's Rule here. So this is going to be our definition and the process that we're going to use to solve these 2x2 systems of equations. All right, so when we have this 2x2 system of equations, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding our d, dx, and dy. And once you have your d, your dx, and your dy, to solve this system for x, all you're going to do is you're going to take that dx value that you found and you're going to divide it by your d. Right? And to find that y value, you're going to take your dy and divide that by d. So the big question is, well, how do I actually get here to find my d, dx, and dy? And that's what I'm here to show you. So let's take a look and let's start with this example. All right, so let's go ahead and solve this 2x2 system using Cramer's Rule. All right, so you have your definition, but let me give you the thought process because you know how we do it in Dr. Math Studios. And before we do that, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe and share this video with a friend or 10,000. All right, so here's the game plan, folks. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find D first, and we're gonna set this augmented matrix up like this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna ignore our right-hand side, and all you're gonna grab from here is your coefficients. So ignore the x's and the y's, make sure they're lined up. Write that down, right? Make sure everything's in standard form. And all we're gonna do is steal these coefficients. So there's our x coefficients, here's our y coefficients. So make sure in your notes, you write down, all you're doing is writing down the coefficients on our left-hand side. That's it. And now we're going to find the determinant of this. So just like you saw in the previous video, right? We're going to go ahead and multiply negative 11 times -5. And then we're going to subtract, and we cross multiply those two, 6 times 2, 6 times 2. All right, so let's go ahead and do some calculations here. And we get, boom, 43. So this is gonna be our value for D. All right, next step. Now, if we go back to what we need to find dx. So make sure you pay attention to this right here. So what we do when we're gonna find the determinant here is we're gonna replace these x values, these x coefficients here, with these constants right here. So we're gonna take this 4 and -3, and this column is gonna replace this column. So instead of writing -11, 2 like we did above, now those are gonna be replaced with that 4 and that -3. And nothing happens to the y value. So the way I like to think about it is this subscript of x tells me which column I'm going to replace, all right? So that's a fun little pro tip for you. Write that down. This is money. All right, so let's go ahead and let's do the same thing. Find the determinant. We're gonna cross multiply, and then we're gonna subtract, and then we're gonna cross multiply, and we get -3 times 6. So let's get our calculators. Let's go ahead and calculate this. And we get -2. Bam. All right, any questions? Perfect. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's calculate dy here. So let's set it up. So just using that same idea that we just talked about, this time we're gonna replace the y column, right? So all these coefficients, these y coefficients, they're gonna get replaced by our constants over here. So that 4 and -3 are gonna replace the 6 and -5. And the x's stay the same. So let's copy down that first column, -11 and 2. And then our y's are getting replaced with that 4 and that -3. And once again, we take that determinant. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. So we get negative 11 times negative 3 minus, boom, 4 times 2. So let's do a quick little calculation here. And we get 25. So look at what we have. We have our d, our dx, and our dy. And now for our last step, which is the easiest. Take a look. All right, so let's finish this off, mathletes. So according to our formula that we saw earlier, to find the x value, all we do is divide dx by d. And to find our y value, we do dy divided by d. But make sure that you understand those theorems that you read, those properties that you read, those definitions that you read, the formulas that you read, right? Because there's some important details always embedded in them. So notice what they said, d can never equal 0. And it makes sense, right? Because we're dividing by d and we can't divide by 0. So this works as long as d is not 0. And here d is 43. So we're set, we're good. So let's go ahead and plug everything in. So dx is negative 2, d is 43. So this is our x value. And then dy is 25 and d is 43. So there's our y value, folks. All right, so there you have it. That's how you solve a 2x2 system using Cramer's rule. So let's get one for you, right? So let's get one for the road here. So here you go, mathletes. This is what I want you to solve. And again, when you're copying this down, make sure that number one, it's written in standard form and everything is lined up nicely before you begin, or else you'll run into some trouble. All right, folks, so go ahead, comment down below with your answers. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our videos with a friend or two. Peace.